Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's that time of year again when the elves come back. So today I wanted to share with you 25 things that our elf on the shelf has done in the past. I filmed it all and I thought it might be funny for you guys to see. And also if there's any elves watching, this might give you guys some ideas. They got very creative, but a lot of the things they did probably didn't take that long to set up as well. So I'm going to show you all of it. I hope you enjoy it. And if you're a child that's watching this and you don't happen to have an elf on the shelf, don't worry. It's just because you're so well behaved. You don't actually need one of these guys watching over you, whereas my kids definitely need someone watching what they're getting up to and reporting back to Santa. So yeah, I hope you enjoy this anyway. And if you like this kind of content, definitely consider subscribing because I post a lot of it. And with all that said, let's get into 25 things our elf on the shelf did. Okay, so on one of the days we came downstairs and found our elves all lined up with a sign that said, "We froze the keys. I guess you'll have to stay home today." And luckily we didn't have any plans that day because the keys were frozen solid next to them. The kids thought that this was so funny and we ended up just staying home, playing some games and doing some Christmas things because we couldn't really leave the house that day. On another morning, we came downstairs to find that the elves were holding a hairdryer and they had a sign that said, "Do you want to melt a snowman?" And in a frying pan next to them, it looked like they had melted a snowman. There was like googly eyes, a little carrot nose, little chocolate chip buttons, even a little scarf as well. And yeah, he had just been completely melted by the elves, and the kids again thought this was hilarious. And they must have a thing about snowmans because on another morning we came downstairs to find that the elves were holding onto Jackson's stuffed Olaf toy and they were actually grating him. There was a sign that said, "Santa says be grateful." So they were holding onto him, he was on the grater, and what was actually coming out was mini marshmallows. So the kids ate some of these, they were super excited and they thought that it was pretty cool that the elves had actually got Olaf. And I think this has to be my favorite thing that the elves have ever done. One morning we found a couple of the elves with a sign that said, "We've made Daddy one of us, go and find him." Then the kids ran in to find Daddy and he was in fact an elf. They've done this before where they've been holding nail polish and they've said, "Go and look at Daddy's toes," and they've actually painted his toes. So I guess this time they turned him into an actual elf. And one morning we came downstairs to find a drawing station had been set up at the dining table by the elves. They were holding a sign that said, "Santa likes pictures, can you draw one for him?" So they'd set out some little like coloring pens and some paper as well, and the kids could get creative, draw a festive picture for him that I guess the elves could then take away that night to show Santa. This was a great little activity for the kids to do and they were really excited when they were actually doing their drawings. And one day the elves did something which was truly in the spirit of Christmas and giving. We came downstairs to find that the elves had a basket and a sign on it that said, "Christmas is all about giving. Can you donate 5 things to charity?" This could either be toys that they no longer play with or maybe clothes that they've grown out of or no longer wear. But it was great to see the kids running around finding things that maybe they don't play with anymore and that they could actually get rid of, and we could donate to the charity shop so that hopefully someone could actually buy that for Christmas for someone else. So yeah, we really liked this one and the kids really got into it as well. And something that I think the kids will probably remember forever and ever is when we came downstairs to find an elf in a jar with a sign that said, "Do not open, I have farted in here." And of course the kids wanted to open it and it smelled disgusting. I don't know if they sprayed that fart spray in there or if he had actually farted, but it absolutely stunk and the kids thought it was the funniest thing ever. And this is another one which was right up their street. One day we came down to the kitchen, saw 2 elves with a glass and they were almost sitting on it like a toilet, and then another elf had a sign that said, "Lemonade for sale, £1." So it looked like they'd actually weed in the glass. Kids thought this was pretty funny, but I think it was actually maybe apple juice. I think they were just joking, but the kids liked it. On another day, I mean, you can tell they know the boys' sense of humor. On another day, we came downstairs. There was a whoopee cushion on the seat and it said, "Good morning. I bet you can't sit here without blowing off." So of course the kids wanted to sit there, wanted to make the whoopee cushion noise and all of that. And sticking with that naughty theme, they're actually quite cheeky, aren't they? One day we came downstairs to find an elf had actually drawn on a picture of Jackson. He drew hair, glasses, mustache, a beard as well. But I think he actually did it with a, what's it called? A whiteboard marker, not that Sharpie, because it did wipe straight off again. So yeah, the kids thought that that was pretty funny. And I think in the past they've even done this to like family photos of us and put glasses on all of our faces. And once the elves actually set up a post-it note game for the kids. So one morning we came downstairs to find post-it notes all over the kitchen, and the elves had a sign that said, "Boys, who can grab the most post-it notes in 30 seconds?" And then each post-it note color had a name on it. So then the kids pretty much just had to run around, grab as many as they possibly could in 30 seconds, and then we could count up at the end who'd actually got the most. But the kids thought that this was really fun, and then yeah, they were running around like crazy. And something else that the elves did one day that the kids were so excited about was we came down to find some eggs in a bowl and a sign that said, "Sprinkle the eggs with our magic dust and see what happens when you get home from school." So there was a bowl next to the eggs with this magic dust in it. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but I think it could probably be like anything in there. The kids sprinkled the eggs, and then when they got home from school, they found that they'd actually turned into Kinder eggs. This was so exciting for the kids, and yeah, they ate them and they loved it. Something that I don't think the elves loved was one day we came down to find them in the dog cupboard, so where we keep all the dog food, and they actually had a dog bowl out with dog biscuits in it, and they'd put up a little sign that said, "Worst cookies ever." So I guess they had eaten them and realized that they were actually dog cookies, and the kids thought that this was pretty hilarious as well. They were laughing about it, and I doubt the elves will try that again. And something else that they did that was really cute was one day we came down to find them laying down on a plate, and they actually were using toast as a blanket. They even had a sign up that said, "We were cold, but now we're toasty," and they were actually next to the toaster. So I'm guessing they put some bread in, made some toast, and thought that would make them nice and warm. And you know, in the movie Elf, when he says that syrup is one of the main food groups for elves, I guess it is, because one day we found them with a sign saying, "Do you want pancakes with maple syrup? Hold the pancakes." And they were leaning against the maple syrup, and they were holding these like Christmassy straws as well. So I think they were pretty much just drinking the syrup straight out of the thing. So we actually had pancakes that morning. And on another day, we came down to find that the PS4 controllers had been gift wrapped by the elves, and they had a sign that said, "The PS4 is banned today. Let's go outside." So I guess they didn't want them gaming that day. So we went out for a long dog walk, got some fresh air, just got off the screens. So yeah, that was quite a cute idea from the elves to kind of wrap them up for a day so that we couldn't actually use them. And then on another day, I couldn't believe we came downstairs and found that the elves had decorated our Christmas tree with pants. They'd stolen some of the kids' pants and my underwear as well, hung it on the Christmas tree. And they've done something similar to this in the past. Once they wrapped our whole tree up in toilet paper like it was decoration. So the kids again thought that this was pretty hilarious, that they were decorating our tree with underwear. And once they set up a game that the kids really loved, we found them with a sign that said, "Do you like candy canes? We've hidden 6 more." So they were holding 3, and then we had to go and find the other 6, and they were in various different places. One was hanging from a kitchen handle, one was in a decoration, but they had loads of fun like trying to find them all. And on another night, we couldn't believe the elves had actually decorated the boys' rooms with toilet roll while they were sleeping. So when they woke up, they saw all this toilet roll around their whole room, from the lampshades, from the bed to the chair. It was everywhere. They were so cheeky. They were sat holding one of the toilet rolls, but the kids couldn't believe they had done this while they were actually asleep. And every year the elves tend to do this for us, and the kids every year think it's like the coolest thing. So we found them with a little sign that said, "Want to see a rainbow? Just add hot water." You definitely need an adult to help you with this, but if you boil a kettle, you can pour some water in this bowl which has Skittles all around it, and then you can watch it make a rainbow. It's so satisfying and cool to watch every year. And on another year, we couldn't find them anywhere, but then we found them in our Tumble Dryer, and they had their hands up in the air like they were on a roller coaster having the best time ever. And the kids thought that this was really cool, and it took long to find them as well. And on another day, we found them at the toilet, and it had been completely gift wrapped by the elves. They were sitting on it, they had sellotape, they had the scissors, ribbon, and the roll of paper as well. So it was definitely them, and it was so funny to see. And in our old house, they actually made a zipline from one of our frames to the Christmas tree itself, and they were on the zipline with candy canes, which was really cool. And we also found them once in the kitchen, and they'd made a snowman out of toilet roll, and it said, "Do you want to build a snowman?" So it had eyes and a little carrot nose and everything. And another one the kids just absolutely loved was, we found an elf in our Nutella eating it. He's got it all around his mouth, and he'd actually written the word poo on our kitchen surface. So yeah, that is all the things that the elves did. Okay guys, so that's everything that I wanted to show you in today's video. I hope you really enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments below which was your favorite, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye guys!